hard with the names on your back. You can play hard with the names on your chest. Texas A&M.
Hey, once again, we're back. How's everybody doing? I'm Richard Webb, my co-host Robert Wilson. And first, I'd like to start off by saying like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at Richmond Webb, and also Robert Wilson. You can follow him on Twitter as well. He's at Aggie Bull. And also, you follow the show on Facebook or Twitter, and that's at Starcade Media. Robert, how you doing today?
Doing great, man. We started out here in Houston, kind of dreary, and it stormed for like an hour and a half. But then now as you can see, the sun is out.
Oh, no question. We were on up under a tornado warning for early this morning, probably around 8:30 to about 10 o'clock. But the weather has came through and passed through, and everything's kind of cleared out. So that's definitely good. Everything's good in my area. The power flashed off for a minute, but it came back on, so that's good. But how about those Texas A&M Aggies? Third win in a row, huge win against SEC opponent South Carolina this past Saturday, and the Aggies won 44-14, and that was definitely a dominant win. And we moved up another 3 spots in the college ranking. We're number 14 now. But impressive offense, defense, even special teams. I think what really impressed me was the domination of the game in all phases of the game. I can tell the offensive liners came together. Calzada's playing better, and we're establishing our identity. I think the thing is when I think it's the second week in a row that we've had 2 running backs go over 100 yards. So definitely impressive, and actually got an opportunity in the maybe mid to late third quarter to actually get some younger guys some experience. The stats would even look more impressive if you left the starters in, but I think it's valuable to get some of those young guys in, get them some playing experience, and introduce them to it, and kind of let them get their feet wet, because eventually you have to replace guys. So the more guys you can play, let them get acclimated to, kind of what it's going to be like. I think that's a good thing. But what did you think about the game this past Saturday against South Carolina?
Man, I loved it. What we talked about 2 weeks ago was just dominating on the offensive and defensive line, starting there. We had I think we had 3 sacks. Getting to the quarterback, getting him off his spot. And I think number 27, the cornerback, he's the top-rated corner in the SEC so far, as far as film.
He's balling. Yeah, he's balling. Yeah. He's balling. I agree. And you're right. We've talked about it, and it seemed like since we've played Alabama, they've hit another gear. I think this is the team that everybody was expecting us to be when we were ranked number 6 and 7.
5
before the 5 before the preseason, before the season started, and but it took a while. We had a lot of guys replaced. The offensive line was replaced, and we had injuries. Haynes King was the quarterback, and then he got hurt in the Colorado game, and then Calzada comes in, and I think it takes him a couple of games to kind of get his feel or his niche, and he hit it the Alabama game, and we haven't looked back. And hats off to the coaching staff and Coach Jimbo Fisher. He's kept these guys focused, because it's so easy to lose, after a big win in Alabama. But, they've done it for 2 consecutive weeks after that.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed, like you said, with the offensive defensive line. We did get 3 sacks, numerous pressures, and the offensive line to rush for almost 300 yards. We had 290 yards rushing, and we averaged 5.5 yards of rush. So that's a lineman's dream, and it had to be some huge gaping holes. And when you got 2 great backs like A-Chain and Spiller, man, they're gonna eat all day long. But it also takes pressure off a young quarterback where he don't have to try to win the game with just throwing the football, 40 times a game. But you still hit guys like Chase, Wiedemeyer. You find those targets. It makes it easier for your play action, and everything works much better when you can establish the running game like that.
Okay, so one of our sticking points, or one of my sticking points, is creativity. So
Okay.
I did see a drop off in that area as opposed to the Alabama game. You know what I mean? Or the Mississippi State game. You know,
Okay.
The movement wasn't there, the resets, the movement, the resets, the speed sweep, fake reverse, that's taking a defensive end off the ball. It depends on who you run at it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Then, and you can look at it this way: if you're dominating the team the way that we dominated, why even show that?
okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe that was the thing when he saw that. Go ahead.
Just come in with some, create your playbook like it was like Green Bay. I guess the West Coast offense. You could run the same play in 5 different formations. You know what I mean?
And Green Bay does that extremely well. Yeah, you're right. They give you the same look, but it's so many different plays off that same look that it kind of keeps you guessing or wondering, is it a run? Is it a pass? Are they going to the left? They do everything, and they execute it really, really well. So, yeah, the Packers, that West Coast offense, if you execute it right, you got to be a really good defense to stop that.
Mm-hmm. And then that's what we talked about, like off the field stuff. Back to basically is on the field, but to be there and see how fast they practice, you know what I mean? It's like as far as and so Green Bay was one of the places where they say, "Hey, look, we're gonna be out here for an hour, but everything we do out here for this hour is gonna be full speed." You know what I mean? And that goes down from running, covering kicks to, going in motion on offense. You know what I mean? Or adjusting on defense. So I was that, that kind of amazed me. I was like, wow, full speed. And that's what the winning offenses do. Try to create that game mode. So from practice to the game is not a big transition. There's no switch to hit.
Yeah, that's something you've been fortunate to experience. I know in Miami we never did it that way, and then I went to the Bengals, but that would just blow my mind that they said we're gonna be out here for an hour, but it worked. It was efficient. I think even the Denver Broncos back in the day they did something similar to that where but everybody buys into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they the teams that ran the West Coast offense very good at drafting players that fit that scheme.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? With San Francisco, whether it was Kansas City, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got to have a fullback that can catch and run and block.
And block.
Backs are interchangeable in the West Coast offense, basically.
Yeah. And you're right, but I guess if you give some of the stats of the game, offensively, we had 477 total yards on offense. We had 290 yards rushing and 187 passing, so almost 500 yards total of offense. But one of the key stats that stood out to me were third down efficiency. We were 6 of 14. That's almost 50%. And if you get that high of a percentage on third down efficiency, that means you're consistently converting, moving the chains, and it definitely showed with scoring 44 points and allowing 14. In time of possession, the A&M had the ball for 35 and a half minutes. So our defense, you look at the defensive stats, we allowed a total of 185 yards, 71 rushing, 114 passing. But that number is a little misleading because, like I said, probably midway through the third quarter, fourth quarter, A&M started playing a lot of backs up, stuff like that. But at halftime, South Carolina had a total of 11 yards of total offense. So that was very impressive. Me, like the way they got after the quarterback, the sacks, the pressures, and then we also had 3 turnovers. I believe all 3 were maybe 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. But I mean, it was just a game of total dominance, and it was just a joy to watch.
All cylinders.
Yeah, they're hitting on all cylinders. And early in the game, when Nye Smith caught that punt return and took it back 95 yards, and he has that big making ability, and he made a couple of guys miss and got a couple of blocks, but it was a foot race to the end zone. So,
since he did that, so now when you play against A&M, you're gonna have some starters on punt.
Oh, ain't no question. You got to. The thing is, and like I said, you can tell the way we're moving up the polls that we're probably one of the best 2-loss teams, if not the best 2-loss team in the country right now. And I say that to say this is what I really like about it is it seems like they're having fun out there. They're believing in each other. And not this week, we got a bye week, which is good. If we got anybody injured, we can get them back healthy. But we got Auburn, and we can kind of talk about this. But as a player, you kind of take it one game at a time. But we got Auburn 2 weeks from now. I believe that's the 6th at home at Texas A&M. I believe that's definitely a pivotal game. I think it's a winnable game, but we're going to have to come with that same focus. But we got 2 weeks to prepare for them. But I think the game that I got my eye on is the Ole Miss game. I mean, they're playing some really good football. They got a Heisman candidate quarterback, this and that. So, and we go to Ole Miss. So,
did you see Peyton and Eli on Monday Night Football?
I miss Peyton and Eli on Monday. They come on the other channel. Sometimes I forget to turn over there.
They had beast mode on there. So you can imagine. You probably have to go just check it out on YouTube or Starcade. Yeah, they might have it up,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was wild.
I can imagine when you said beast mode was on there. I can just imagine what they talked about.
3 shots of Hennessy, and Hennessy got some good publicity. I'll tell you that.
Oh my goodness, I'm not even touching that one. But beast mode was at it again.
Yes, sir. But yeah, and the reason I brought that up because Peyton actually had on a small Ole Miss jersey because Tennessee beat him, and Eli went to Ole Miss. So Peyton had he sent him a super small number 10.
Well, the thing is, I can't exactly remember, but their dad Archie Manning and Peyton's older brother Cooper also played at Ole Miss. So Peyton went to Tennessee, and I think he was supposed to go to Ole Miss, but I think something happened and they pissed him off, and that's when he went to Tennessee. But I heard that Cooper, the oldest son, has a son in New Orleans that's a quarterback that he's supposed to be pretty good. And I think they talked about him, or I've heard something about him that maybe Ole Miss may have a chance. But there's a couple other schools they mentioned as well. But
They might send him out there to that coast, man.
It's no telling. It is no telling. But Yeah, so that is. I'll have to go back and watch that on Beast Mode and Peyton and Archie. But I'd love to see Peyton in a small Ole Miss. I'm sure that was pretty funny.
And he said, and Eli said, "I was gonna send you one I played in, but I didn't want your big old head stretching it out where I couldn't use it."
Yeah, they have fun. I mean, they're both pretty funny and they're very good on television. I mean, they got the charisma and all that. So I'm sure it's a good time. I'm about to go. And like I said, maybe it's on Starcade Media. I'll check it out. But I will definitely look it up, check it out. But some of the positives I just listed, this was a third win in a row, establishing the running game, controlling the line of scrimmage, not from just an offensive standpoint, but from a defensive standpoint as well. They're playing like the old wrecking crew. Man, you watch them, they are making plays, and it starts up front, and they're really getting after people.
You know.
Go ahead.
Man, if I may interject, now these next 2 weeks,
Okay.
these next 3 weeks actually, is when Jimbo makes his money.
Okay.
By keeping his team focused through this bye week, having them up and ready for Auburn, and like you say, Ole Miss. So, you know, he's gonna make his money. He's gonna make his money in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, like I said, that's the game, and of course we got LSU at the end. But like I said, the next few weeks,
the team is peaking.
Yeah,
so
they're peaking at the right time too. So even if we don't make the college playoff, which I think it'll be pretty tough with 2 losses, I think we'll be in position if they win out to go to a pretty decent bowl game. But it's definitely just encouraging the way the season started out. You could tell that it wasn't the same team that, when we finished up and beat North Carolina in the bowl game. But that's kind of understandable with losing so many players. We lost, I think, 4 guys on the offensive line and other positions, but now they're hitting on all cylinders, and it's just a joy to watch. But the last few things I had was playing at Kyle Field, which we know is an advantage. And I take my hat off to the fans. They've done a tremendous job keeping it loud, hostile environment for opposing teams. And like you said, we got 2 weeks to prepare for Auburn, and we just need to stay focused. Like you said, take it one game at a time. And like I said, I think Coach Fisher will definitely have them. I think they believe in, and they're whatever he's telling them, they're buying into it, and they're starting to believe it. A lot of times when it starts to come together and you actually can see it for yourself, you'll start believing in it. So it was just a joy to watch this and that.
Hey, Mr. Webb, this is off. I'm running off on one of my tangents, but I know you were in the trucking industry for some time, or I don't know if you still if you still have your trucking company, but I wanted to ask you something off the beaten path, where as far as like these containers that are sitting off every coast in America, and the amount of money that people are offering truck drivers right now to actually get back in the truck.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about it on the news. Is that they got ships just waiting to unload containers, and I think not only truck drivers, but from what I've been hearing, is it's not enough people working at the ports to actually get them unloaded. I guess stack them up, put them on trucks, and ship them to where they can get the materials that's inside that people need. So you're gonna see
the whole supply chain, as they say,
a whole supply chain, and it's a shortage of workers. At least that's what they're putting out there, and you're gonna see price increases at grocery stores and just regular stuff you got to buy, because it's going to be supply and demand. So I always tell people right now, if you can, start stocking up on stuff that you're going to use, because if they continue
through
to,
the winter
yeah,
too.
through the winter, and you're going to start to see it. So rather than just get caught and everything just skyrocket, at least you can minimalize, or if you can stock up on some stuff, it'll definitely help you, because as the prices increase, it's going to cost more, and they're not going to give anybody a raise or anything right now, I foresee. So that's definitely something to be concerned about. But yeah, definitely pay attention to that. Hopefully we can get enough people back working in this and that. And even when you do, it's going to take a minute for it to recover because it's so backlogged. So hopefully
Well,
we can get
and then
back
one of
to
the
it.
things that one of the remedies coming from the government is, um, I think it's Walmart. Walmart. There's three entities, man, that they're going to go 24/7 to
Okay.
try to offset, the backlog of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Walmart's going to go 24/7. If you're not, they're going to start. You know, if you're already 24/7, they're going to keep going. But it's Walmart. I think FedEx.
FedEx and UPS, I heard they're going to use them to in their trucks to try to, move some of that freight to, or cargo, to get to the stores and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
But and I think Amazon possibly may be also
with the
involved in
holiday
that as
season,
well.
the holiday season already being affected because people can't find stuff for Halloween. So
Right. And
it's already overlap.
yeah, and they're letting people know, and they even letting people know about Thanksgiving, the holidays. They're saying if you're gonna place an order for gifts or whatever, do it
Yeah,
early. Don't wait till the last minute.
yeah.
And hopefully everybody's listening. So yeah, it's great, valid point you bring up, that we need to be aware of this now and not wait until a week or two before. And a lot of people might think that they have like Amazon Prime or something, but if they don't have it in stock or they don't get it, you're not gonna get it in time. So definitely, if you can
And then
order early.
what I'm saying too is that all that is going along with gas prices inching up every day. So
Well, you got to be able to supply, like you say, if it's shortage of truck drivers, you got to be able to supply the gas stations with gas. So if too much of a demand becomes on that and the supply is low, the prices are gonna go up. So
all
yeah,
right.
you're right about that. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just ran off on that tangent. We can go back to
Okay. Well, definitely happy about my Ags. I guess we can move on to the Miami Dolphins, and we're riding high on Saturdays, but Sundays we got to do something to try to fix this. The Dolphins this past Sunday played the Atlanta Falcons, and the Dolphins lost 30-28, and this is the second week in a row we lose 30-28, but it was another last second field goal. I mean, same thing happened in the Jacksonville game. But if you look at it, the first question I have is, the Dolphins are 1-6 now. What do we do to turn it around? That'd be the first question I had. What would you do to turn it around?
I would well, I don't think it's turning around is possible. I think it's what would you do to begin to establish the culture that we're gonna turn this thing around sooner than later.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I asked the question, because I watched the game Sunday, and if you look at the stats, the Dolphins really outplayed the Falcons. I watched the game, and the only thing that I came up, they played well enough to win, but we had a couple of crucial turnovers in the red zone where we were going in to score, and if you don't make those turnovers, I believe we possibly win the football game, or it doesn't come down to a last-minute field goal. So I was just asking that question just to get your feedback. But you're right; it's got to be a way to turn it around. And even if it's not for making the playoffs this year, you want to get it turned around to where
That's at least a 12-step process.
that's the very least thing right now is, we have players good enough to where we shouldn't be 1-6, and that was never the expectation, especially the way we played last year and finished the season. I don't think anybody, if you would have told anybody the Dolphins would be 1-6 after 7 games, I think anybody that would be a serious argument, and rightfully so. But for whatever reason, I know Tua got hurt, had the rib injuries, missed like 3 games. We've had some offensive line struggles, which we're still working on, this and that. But it's got to be a way to fix it. But some of the stats, Tua threw for 291 yards. He was 32 of 40. He had 4 TDs and 2 interceptions. I know one of them was costly. Gaskins rushed 15 carries for 67 yards. Tua rushed 4 times for 29 yards. And Mike Gesicki, the tight end, was the leading receiver. He had 7 receptions for 85 yards and a TD. And Jalen Waddle also, he's been productive. He had 7 receptions for 85 yards. And then if you look at the some of the stats for the Atlanta Falcons, some that stood out was Matt Ryan was 25 of 40 for 336 yards. He had 2 TDs and 1 interception. But the guy I was really impressed with was Kyle Pitts, the first-round pick from the University of Florida. And some people list him at tight end, but he can play tight end, wide receiver, whatever. And he had 7 catches for 163 yards. And even on that last drive where they had to drive down to kick the field goal, he had a nice, looked like it's 30, 40-yard catch over Xavier Howard. I mean, Xavier Howard was in good position. He just came up with a great catch. So you look at third down efficiency, the Dolphins were 7 out of 11. Atlanta was 6 out of 13. Dolphins did rush for 132 yards. I think 120 was the goal when we played. Least rush for 100. We rushed for 132 yards. Atlanta 72. But when you really look at it, turnovers was the key in this game, and it was turnovers in the red zone at crucial times, and I think that's definitely what cost the game. I don't think I think the effort was there. I think guys are playing hard. It's just you got to know the down and distance, and you got to know the situation you're in, and sometimes you can try to make a play and force it rather than just saying, if it's not there, don't take it. But when you turn it over, even if you don't score the touchdown, if you can, kick a field goal, you're still putting points on the board. So I think we just got to play smarter and not harder. So those are some of the things that stood out. Sunday's game against the Atlanta Falcons, I thought we would be 2-5 after this game, but that was a tough one. I think it was a tough one for Coach Flo, and I know it was definitely tough for the staff and for the players as well. Anytime you're in lose 6 games in a row, that's got to be tough, especially when you're not used to losing.
Hey man, try 9 or 10. My rookie year in Tampa, we were 3-13, so we had a stretch in there, where my Vince had made 9 games. But we had talent on the team, and it was just I don't think the coaching was fair at that time as far as what we had against what other people had already. You know what I mean? As far as coaching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So you've experienced it, and I played in Cincinnati. I think my first year up there we went 6-10, and then second year I know we went like at least 0-4, 0-5, something like that. The first, and then I tore my pec. But
so what I'm going to ask you. like since you know, how much of a drop off were the players' expectations going from being in the locker room with Dan Marino going to Cincinnati?
You know,
What did it, because I mean, I expect to win every Sunday with Dan.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
But I think it was just the coaches we had in Miami, the expectations, and that. When I went to Cincinnati and I would watch the guys, we had just as much talent, if not more, than we had in Miami. I think the biggest difference was they wasn't disciplined. And the other thing was, I think the last time when I got there, the last time the Bengals had been to the playoffs was probably maybe 90 or 91. So it had been almost 10 years. So nobody pretty much basically there probably had ever been to the playoffs. So, and we talked to them, me and other guys that came from other teams and this and that. And the question was, we will be winning games and something will happen. And if something happened bad, the momentum would turn toward the other team and we couldn't swing the momentum back. And that was a question we asked. And we were trying to understand it. And they were saying, it's different for y'all. Y'all played at other teams. And, sometimes y'all could overcome that. But they had gotten a mindset.
You get used to losing, man.
You get used to losing, and it was like an expectation that here we go again.
Yeah. I was hoping
that's why.
That.
Yeah,
when, my first rookie game, I started in Tampa was the second game of the year. We went down by 7. I turn around, it's nobody standing up.
Yeah.
As far as players.
Yeah.
And we go down 7 points, and I'm coming from A&M where we're gonna run the ball to keep us in the game till the end and win it in the end. You know what I mean?
Right. Totally
different thought process. I was like, damn, well, these people are used to losing.
Yeah, and that's why it gave me a different appreciation from talking to those guys, and that's why I say a lot of times you will have guys. Normally, the way the draft works is the better player you are, normally the worst team you go to, because the Super Bowl team normally has the last pick in the first round or in every.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the worst team in the league, you're gonna get some of the best players, but a lot of times, like you say, guys get trapped in that system if it's a team that's just been losing year in, year out. And then they'll say, well, that guy was a bust. But then that guy sometimes will either get traded or go to another team and get back to playing like the monster he was in college. And a lot of times it's just, I've heard people say your environment will change you before you change your environment. And it's just tough, but it gave me a different appreciation, and we did what we could to try to change it, this and that. But I had to respect what they said, because when you've never been in that. Go ahead.
So I guess now I can tell you, I think that's what's happening with the Miami coach right now.
What is that?
I mean they know. I mean, he's gonna be out of there, bro. How much time do you think they're gonna give him?
I think he has. I think he has another year. And then that's the other thing I was going to talk about. The rumors are surfacing again about Tua and Deshaun Watson from the Texans. I heard some other stuff about the deal is basically done. It's coming up if you check Twitter, ESPN. A few people have been reporting that, and that I think John McClain was basically one of them, which is a viable source here in the city of Houston, one of the well-respected columnists or journalists around the league that works for the Texans or the Houston Chronicle. And he says it's pretty much done, that the Dolphins just want a guarantee that what's going to be his suspension status if they do pull the trigger, and they're checking into that bit. I don't know if it's done, but that's what I heard today. So it's not going away, and so it must be some legitimate interest there. But they've been going back and forth since this off season about this. So
you see how somebody got slick and they threw Carolina in there. Now Carolina said today, no, we stepping away from that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That was somebody from the Texans trying to see if they can get in the bidding war. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a tough situation. I mean, he is a great player. It's just he's got to, the baggage that goes around, and whether he beats the Chargers or not, people gonna believe a certain way, regardless of because the information's been put out there. But your media and all that's gonna have to try to control or minimize that. But I think that's the thing. But I think even if we do trade for Deshaun Watson, he's a great player. We have some more issues. I mean, we got to fix the offensive line. I keep saying that, and it's bigger than just the quarterback play, this and that. We got to fix the offensive line. And I thought the last two games that Tua played extremely well, except he threw a pick in the red zone, which cost us. That's part of learning and growing as a quarterback and this and that. But
well, I mean, okay. Well, as far as coaching, the blueprint is franchise quarterback, franchise left tackle. Baker they did it for Baker. They did it for the kid at Cincinnati. I mean, come on, man. That's simple.
It's simple, and that's the thing. We had Laramie Tunsil here at the Dolphins, and then we traded him to the Texans, which.
And then what did those two picks up this year, or what did they do with them?
Well, we had three. We had three this. We had three 2 years ago. We took Tua, Austin Jackson, and Noah Igbinoghene. I struggle with his name. Defensive back out of Auburn, and Austin Jackson is playing, but he struggled at times. But he's offensive line. We still got to do it. And then Noah, I don't even know if he's playing in nickel or whatever. So your first round picks have got to produce this and that. And then this year we took Jalen Waddle, and he's playing well, and Jalen Phillips from the University of Miami, defensive end, outside linebacker. He's been playing pretty well. I think he got hurt in the Jacksonville game, but I think he'll definitely turn out to be a great player. But
buying all the bullets, ain't got a gun.
Yeah, and that's the thing with your higher round draft picks. You got to get production out of them. You can miss on some of the later rounds, but when you miss on a guy that's that's supposed to be there, those are the ones that really hurt or really set you back a little bit. So, like I said, it's bigger than the quarterback play, and I think people are starting to see that now. But we got some holes to fix, this and that. But this week we go back to Buffalo, and Buffalo is playing extremely well. And you know how it is playing at Buffalo. So, the crowd, yeah.
I'm glad you said that. Playing at Buffalo, because my boy Ronnie Williams,
our teammate,
our boy Ronnie Williams, our teammate, tight end for the Dolphins at the time, and special teams extraordinary player, and so I just thought about it and I figured it out. He was doing what Beast Mode was doing back then.
Okay.
And I think Beast Mode was playing for Buffalo at that time. But it's just funny, going to Buffalo. So he's like every time we go to like New England, Buffalo, if we go on the road to those places, he said before the warm up, he'd take a shot of Crown. Crown and coffee. I said, "Brother Ron, what you drinking? Crown and coffee, baby. You already know."
I didn't know DJ Running Run was doing that, but yeah, that is funny. But
Yeah.
you'd be surprised what worked for certain players. You know what I'm saying? I don't knock it, but as long as you go out there and you be productive, but I'm sure that's something you definitely keep up on your hat. But did not know that. But like I said, we go to Buffalo. It's going to be a game Sunday, 12 o'clock game. I guess the good thing is it's an early game, and it's end of October, which the weather shouldn't be too bad up there. So I don't want to use that as an excuse, but it would be great if we could put something together and come out
And
with a W.
I don't know about you, man, but Buffalo, I don't know if it's the where they are on the map or whatever, man. But like when we used to go up there and play, and it would snow, and then the sun would be out.
Yeah.
Man, that was the best weather I ever seen, man. You know what I mean? The sun would be all, super bright off the snow, and then it's not too cold because there's no wind.
Yeah, that's the key. The only time it's bad, like you said, if you get that wind and that wind's coming off that water or whatever. But most of the time they would talk about it being cold. But I think pretty much fortunate most of the time that wasn't the cold. I think the coldest game I played in was in Chicago, and that was my second year in the league. That was pretty cold, and I think maybe a couple times in New England it got pretty cold, but Buffalo, for the most part, it seemed like we would always luck out to have even if it was cold, halfway decent weather. So that's the thing. But everybody else is doing so bad in the division that Buffalo's probably got at least 2 to 3 games lead on the Dolphins, the Jets, and New England. So
they looking. I'll be very surprised if they don't win the AFC East.
Yeah, win the AFC East, and I'm sure what they're looking at is trying to put themselves in position for a bye at the end of the season. I mean, I know it's early, take it one game at a time, but it's always better to be at home during the playoffs, I believe, than to be on the road because you got your fans and all that, and the other team is traveling. If you can get home field throughout the playoffs at home, I think that's what you shoot for. But that game will be. Go ahead.
I got a trick question for you.
Trick question. Okay.
Yeah. But why, like the stadiums are back full, right? NFL stadiums, right? So I'm not seeing any COVID protocol on TV.
Well, yeah, even college stadiums are full, and from what somebody told me, and I don't know, you hear different reports, but I think it's a lot less. The percentages are way lower if you're outside in a crowd than versus being inside. And we do have some dome stadiums, but you haven't heard anything about COVID numbers shooting up due to people going to games or whatever. So basketball games are starting.
That narrative.
The arenas inside are being full, this and that. So, yeah, I haven't heard not one word about that. You're exactly right. Not that, we had another breakout because, people going to games. Because if you go to the game and you catch COVID and you don't know and you go to work, you can spread from there to work to where it could just.
And man, these people, they put the camera on them, they screaming with spit flying out their mouth, man. Then they fighting, they exchanging blood. Come on, man.
Yeah,
that's a setup, man. But that's Bull X talking.
That's Bull X. We're gonna let Bull X talk. So, I say let's try to put together a valiant effort, and I'm sure they're preparing. But it would be a sweet deal to go up there and beat Buffalo this week. That's what I'm hoping for. And any given Sunday, that's what I lean on now.
And that's what I
can happen.
That's what I was getting ready to say, man. Any given Sunday or Saturday. But now on paper,
Yeah.
we should be able to play with Buffalo.
I agree.
On
I
paper.
agree. Yeah.
As far as they shutting those wide receivers down with the corners, you know, but everybody not showing up. Everybody not jumping off the pace.
Everybody got to show up. You're right.
Everybody not getting off the bus, as we used to say, man. You got to get off the bus.
So, you got any last words before we wrap it up?
No, man. To see all the Aggies tonight, and they honor as they honor Coach Carroll over at the Entertainment Center, Bayou Vista.
Mm-hmm. I guess, but anyway, something happened. But anyway, like, share, and subscribe. But we're gonna honor Coach Cheryl at the East Touchdown Man of the Year. So I will be there. Robert Wilson will be there, and it'll be a ton of Aggies there. So the Aggie family will definitely be in the house tonight. But like, share, and subscribe. Like, again, you can follow me at Twitter at Richmond Webb, Robert Wilson at Aggie Bull, and on YouTube or Twitter at Starcade Media. Look us up, and we will see you guys next week. Y'all have a great week.